Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
Israelis everywhere are mourning today as 23-year-old Staff Sergeant Hadassah Malka of the Israeli Border Guard was laid to rest. Malka and several others were injured in a tragic terror attack in two different areas near Jerusalem's Damascus Gate Friday evening. In the attack, 3 Palestinians committed 2 attacks simultaneously, but were shot dead shortly thereafter. In the first attack, 2 of the 3 opened fire and attempted to stab a group of Israeli police officers. The third terrorist stabbed Sergeant Malka before being shot by nearby police. Malka fought with her attacker while trying to draw her weapon but could not, and received critical stab wounds in her upper torso. She underwent emergency surgery at the hospital in Mount Scopus, but later succumbed to her injuries. Israeli investigators have not yet revealed any specific organization they believe to have orchestrated the attacks, but both Hamas, the Islamic State, and the PFLP have since claimed responsibility. At Sergeant Malka's funeral service in a military cemetery of Ashdod, thousands attended, remembering Hadassah as a fighter who loved people. Among the many politicians and high military brass also in attendance was Public Security Minister Gilad Erdan, who spoke of Sergeant Malka's decision to take a tougher road when she could have had a non-combative position. In fact, Malka was in the Israeli Navy but transferred in the middle of her mandatory service, specifically to a combat position in the border police. She then even extended her service just over a year ago and became an officer. A friend of Malka's speaking to Channel 22 said she was, quote, a real-life Wonder Woman, good-hearted and optimistic, end quote. While mourning the death of Staff Sergeant Malka, a riot broke out during the IDF raid in the West Bank village of the 3 terrorists killed while committing Friday's terror attack. Late last night, Israeli forces raided the West Bank village of Deir Abu Mashal, near Ramallah, sealing off the village and then searching the men's homes, looking for weapons. During the raid, soldiers confiscated various documents, questioned family members over the attack, and made one arrest. Soldiers also mapped out the homes in preparation for the likely demolition of their houses, a common Israeli response to Palestinian terror attacks. According to the IDF officials, a riot broke out during the operation in which an estimated 200 Palestinians began throwing rocks and in some cases burning tires and Molotov cocktails. IDF soldiers responded with non-lethal force and in some cases fired at the lower bodies of key instigators. No soldiers were reported wounded in the riot. The military has said that the actions within Deir Abu Mashal were not intended as collective punishment, but were carried out for operational and security reasons. In another incident over the weekend, IDF Sergeant Yuval Maneh was killed and 3 others were wounded when their jeep overturned while on patrol. The accident occurred near the southern Israeli-Gaza border, and of the 3 injured, 2 are reportedly in serious condition. The third is lightly hurt. The IDF is still investigating what caused the accident, and Sergeant Maneh's funeral is scheduled for this evening in the Kiryat Shaul Military Cemetery north of Tel Aviv. Former Prime Minister Ehud Olmert is up for parole following his first parole hearing sometime this month. Olmert is currently serving out a 27-month prison sentence for a variety of corruption charges and is seeking to have a third of his sentence commuted. Last Thursday, police raided the offices of the Riot books publishing house in the central town of Rishon LeZion and the home of Yehuda Yari, believing that Olmert had given them a portion of his memoirs that included classified material. The material is believed to include Israel's alleged bombing of the alleged Syrian nuclear reactor in the Deir ez-Zor region of Syria in September of 2007. Olmert claims that he had received permission from the IDF's chief censor and that he was not trying to skirt any laws. Olmert's parole hearing is expected to take place sometime later this week. Today, the Israeli cabinet is set to vote on a bill sponsored by Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon to ban the industry of forex and binary options. If it passes today's reading, it's set to be fast-tracked through the Knesset, and a lot of scammers could be out of jobs. Thousands of people over the world have lost millions of dollars to the binary options firms that cast their webs from Tel Aviv skyscrapers. European and American immigrants make untraceable phone calls and use their native accents to gain the trust of their targets. Then, once hooked, the binary workers take them for every cent they've got, in some cases even their life savings. A 61-year-old Canadian man who lost over $150,000 to an Israeli binary options firm shot himself in the chest this past January. He'd been defrauded by a broker in Israel going by the name of Julian Wellington. Israelis banned binary options firms from targeting Israelis over a year ago, but plans to ban the firms from Israel have been considerably delayed, and some say it's because of lobbyists. Last October, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called for the unscrupulous industry to be shut down. On Saturday, the chairman of the Israeli Securities Authority went further, saying that binary options are stoking anti-Semitism more than anything else in the world.
That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.